Now, last one. Sorry, I know you probably are very tired by this time, but it's not the last one in reality. And that's really the test here at 60. It's between 58 and 60 when Saturn returns to its natal place for the second time in life. And a lot of things are repeated with the first Saturn return. Again, we have a very acute feeling that something has ended, but this time it's not childhood, but it's youth, active age. And again, that's more sensitive than the others. These two, the 30s and the 60s, are more sensitive than the mid ones. It's somebody in a societal role, or I don't know, a personage of some sort, then you can't give anything valuable, real valuable, to your people, to your country, your society, before you have reached the age of 60. Because before 60, it's all about action. It's not about wisdom. And we so much, we still live in this situation. I'm very not angry, but I don't like it. I don't know about you, but that we disregard our elderly citizens and people over 60, underestimate them, think that because we're so fixed to productivity and to ego, and these are the topics of the middle cycle between 30 and 60, and we expect from them to continue being so productive in the physical world as they were before that, and we disregard everything else that they may be able to contribute, and they are able to contribute maybe the most important of everything, the wisdom, the gathering into, putting it all together kind of thing, something that nobody before 60 can really do, because they're concentrated into producing, into making money, into working on themselves, proving themselves to themselves and to society. It's ego. That's the period. But then after that, you can have real wisdom if you are willing to listen, and if you're willing to be the one to give it. Because if you haven't given up by that age, then you are now in a new position, and the best thing to do is to realize is that a new cycle is just beginning. This is not the end of something, as it will very often feel, because body-wise, people are very weak. Most of the people are already experiencing illnesses of one sort or another by 60, but these illnesses are only body illnesses. The mind can begin a new cycle if it wants to. And the fear of death and the fear of aging is a lot of it is imposed on us. It's not really real, because you can it's a normal cycle. It has to be lived through. I think we shouldn't want to escape from it, but so many people are missing the opportunity of actually leaving something behind which will outlive them. And most of the people are only thinking that the only thing I can leave behind is my children, which is the physical part of things, the genes. But you can leave behind works, you can leave behind, wisdom, things things that you can explain to others younger than you. This can take so many different forms. I can't even think of the variety of it, but there is so much potential in that age of philosophy, they say, the age of philosophy. And if the previous stages have been lived in a good way, in a constructive way, here there will be many results to gather. It's like gathering the harvest of a cycle. It's like in nature, we have germination of plants, then they grow, then they flower, and this corresponds to different ages. This actually also corresponds to different signs of the zodiac, because they are what happens in nature in the different stages of the year. And then around fall time, autumn time, which is roughly what this is, late autumn, still not winter, is where we gather the harvest, and what will survive from that harvest is only the seeds. Everything else, like the leaves, the old leaves, will die, will decay, but the seeds will last, and they would be the ones that would be the things that the next cycle will begin from. So here comes the big test. Do I make myself a seed, or do I become one of the many leaves that will decay and die naturally, but nothing will remain from them? So here people can take the time to step back and maybe it could be some very small contribution. It doesn't need to be something completely, huge. And you don't need to gain fame from it, or you don't have to somebody to have said thank you for what you did. But if you know that you've done something that is another kind of moving into the next level, because you've existed, you've made some conclusions, you've gone through some experiences, and then the next people can go to the next level. They shouldn't repeat the cycle as from scratch. And that's why they're able to move to the next level, because of the elders of the previous generation. And nowadays we don't. Have you noticed we don't have any spiritual leaders? We don't have any things like, people like that. It doesn't matter the religion or whatever it is, because we want to disregard them. Like, we only value what's between 30 and 60, and then we don't want to hear about it. And that's such a pity, I think, isn't it? So, yeah, I think we've come to the end. And I hope this wasn't too philosophical, but I thought it's important to show you how astrology actually correlates with what happens to us in every age. Thanks a lot for coming.